What is up, everybody? Chris here from Fake Sports News, bringing you yet again another Call of Duty video. Today I'm going to be going over the Pro League standings as well as the pools for CWL London coming up May 3rd through the 5th in, of course, London. So getting right into the Pro League side of things, looking at Division A, we have, of course, Gen.G sitting up top, Optic in second, Midnight in third, Red Reserve in fourth place, Luminosity 5th, UIU 6th, Reciprocity 7th, and EG sitting at 8th. Really nothing too surprising here apart from Midnight's performance. Would have expected LG to be occupying that third spot, but they've just been having struggles closing series out lately, so I think that they'll patch things up and get back to regular form going into London. Optic, of course, has looked pretty good. They've struggled a little bit, though. They've gone to a few Game 5s, so much like Luminosity, I think they'll just have to work on closing series out a little bit earlier. They have some things to fix in control, obviously. And they've been having issues in hardpoint as well, second hardpoints. I think it's more speaking to the strengths of the other teams vetoing the maps than necessarily like a deficiency with Optics playstyle. So, we'll see how that turns out going into London. Red Reserve, of course, they might make a roster change, so I'm not really going to say too much on them. And UIU, Rec, and EG, they've really not made any noise this year, so there's no point in really beating a dead horse, as it were. Moving on to Division B, we have Heretics up top, United in second, 100T in third, Splice in fourth, Envy in fifth, E6 sitting sixth, ironically, Denial sitting at seventh, and Accelerate sitting at eighth place. So everyone's been in the form that you would expect them to be, with the exception of really Envy, I would say. Envy at times has looked like a top 4 team in this game, but their consistency has just been one of their biggest struggles, and they're most likely going to make a roster change, so we'll see how that goes. But the other teams, Heretics, EU, 100 Thieves, and Splice, they've been performing as you'd expect them to. Splice has been struggling with consistency a little bit, but the other 3 teams have just been dominant through cross-divisional play. Of course, Slasher, aka Thanos, has been going crazy. So we'll see. Really, I feel like Division B, honestly, the teams in Division B have been looking the best throughout the last few weeks. So I think one of the teams in this division has a good chance to take the entire event. Moving on to the pools for London. In Pool A, we have Optic, 100 Thieves, E6, and Rec. I think this will be an interesting pool because based on the struggles that Optic has been having lately closing series out, they could definitely lose to Rec, E6, or 100 Thieves if they don't tighten things up. In the case of 100 Thieves, they've been in fantastic form, so if they keep things up, I think they have a pretty good chance of winning this event. E6 and Rec, I mean, they each have a fair shot to play spoiler and really make it to the winner's bracket if they play their cards right. Moving on to Pool B, we have Gen.G, Splice, Luminosity, and Denial. I think that Gen.G and LG will probably make it out of this pool, but Splice has as good a chance as any other top team, I would say, to make it out. If they fix their issues closing games out, like I said, in the case of Optic, just their overall consistency problems, I think they'll be fine. I know that they're rumored to be making a roster change, as is Denial, so we'll see how that impacts the way that this pool plays out. Moving on to Pool C, this pool is going to be absolute pandemonium. We have E United, Red Reserve, Envy, and EG. Teams 2, 3, and 4 are rumored to be making roster changes, and E United has already made a roster change, swapping out Simp for JCap, obviously. JCap is rumored to be making a roster on EG, so we'll see how that plays out. I think JCap will be playing with some fire behind him, so we'll see how things pan out when EU goes up against EG if the rumors are true. And looking at Red Reserve and Envy, I know that Scraps is rumored to be going to the new FaZe team, which is supposed to be buying Red Reserve's spot in the league if rumors are to be believed. So we'll see how that FaZe roster, if it comes to be, turns out. I think they have some really nasty players in the lineup. I think Celium, Zuma, Scraps, who else? Zero, and I don't know who their 5th is supposed to be. Maybe Attach. But I think that team will be nasty if it actually becomes a team. Envy is rumored to be making roster changes, swapping out Decimate and Pharaoh for Assault and Apathy. So we'll see if that comes true, how that impacts things. I think this has potential to be the most exciting pool to watch, just because we don't really know which players will be on which teams, with the exception of United, and there's just a lot of potential for upsets. Looking at our final pool, Pool D, we have Midnight, Heretics, UIU, and Accelerate. I would expect Midnight and Heretics to easily take the top 2 spots in this pool, but I think that this pool will have some very interesting matches because UIU, Accelerate, and Heretics all have somewhat unorthodox playstyles, so it'll just be exciting to watch these teams play Call of Duty in really interesting ways, I would say. So yeah, the event, of course, like I said before, is May 3rd through the 5th, so it's coming up in about 2 weeks. Yeah, so I'll catch you guys on the next video. In the next video, I'll be going over some of the roster changes and some of the controversy around said roster changes. So it's going to be a pretty long one, and it's going to be kind of ranty. So be on the lookout for that. And I hope you guys have a great morning, noon, or night, wherever you are in the world right now watching this video. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.